Welcome to this episode of our book read-through of Elon Musk, Woke Messiah by Albion. We left off on this page, and it reads, Bertrand Russell quote that reads, "No man treats a motor car as foolishly as he treats another human being. When the car will not go, he does not attribute its annoying behavior to sin. He does not say, 'You are a wicked motor car, and I shall not give you any more petrol until you go.' He attempts to find out what is wrong and to set it right." I like this metaphor. I don't know if, there's a conversation about positive feedback and negative feedback or reinforcement. And yeah, the way we treat people sometimes seems irrational because I think, we see ourselves and them as making choices that are a choice and aren't influenced by external factors. So sometimes we don't take the most rational approach to changing that behavior or the way we see that behavior. Then we have the LBM blurb from 2045 that reads, "He just sat there in absolute silence. I wondered what thoughts went through his head. I asked him with humble interest. He told me he thought of nothing, ignoring the thoughts dying to be validated, concentrating on the spaces between thoughts, focusing on the recesses one cannot comprehend, detesting all that is rational, all that logic touches, knowing we cannot wrap our minds around divinity, knowing wisdom is often the absence of thought." He just sat there in absolute silence. I don't know who he is. I don't know if there's another experience versus just thoughts. And in bold it reads, "He thought of nothing, concentrating on the spaces between thoughts." I like that. On the bottom of the page it says, "What would Elon have to do to convince you he is an alien? Some already believe, and some would never believe regardless of the evidence." Yeah. And I think this just highlights how different we are. Some of our beliefs or thoughts, we're willing to accept without much evidence, while some of us are, need so much evidence that we believe very little is true or for sure, or we're unwilling to change what we think. Next page it says, "If you did not enjoy this book and want to burn it, I understand. However, I think the more powerful gesture would be to buy 1,000 copies of this book and make a bigger fire." And in parentheses it says, "Toasty." Sounds like the author just wants to sell more books. Okay. Then we have an LBM blurb from 2045 that reads, "People are not logical beings that flirt with emotion. They are emotional beings that flirt with logic. How cruel a world for those who savor logic, for those who divorce their emotions for some greater truth. They find a world they understand, a world filled with people they cannot comprehend. They find that emotions themselves are logical. Emotions follow an evolved and complicated logic, or one so simple we cannot see. Perhaps true wisdom is in knowing both." Yeah, wasn't there a thing earlier in the book that talked about logic and emotion, how sometimes they work together, but sometimes they seem to contradict each other? And then what is emotion? Is it something that's evolved over, thousands and thousands of years? And then how much should we trust it? Can we trust it if we can't perfectly explain it, which logic would try to do? That whole duality of man kind of keeps popping up. I don't know if I'm using that duality man phrase correctly, but that's how I think of it. Then we have a, "Hey Elon, do you think ethics and morals exist in nature, or are they purely social constructions?" And in parentheses, it says the latter. Yeah, so it talked about people living alone in nature without ever having contacted human beings, if that was possible. Would there be morals or ethics in that case? Do you need more than one person to create morals and ethics to let you know, to get their response? How would you know if it's just yourself? Things would just be what they were, right? Are you born with that? Something to think about. Next page is a Bertrand Russell quote that reads, "I think we ought always to entertain our opinions with some measure of doubt. I shouldn't wish people dogmatically to believe any philosophy, not even mine." And that feels a lot like his other quote where he talks about hanging a question mark on things we've thought for a long time. Question. Then we have the LBM blurb from 2040 that reads, "What are the most appalling things in life? Are these things appalling because they bring us pain? Are they appalling because we have been told they are so? Do these things make other things less appalling by comparison and the beautiful things in life more so? How much life is defined by comparison and subjectivity?" And that last line is highlighted. Seems like just about everything is defined at least partially by comparison and subjectivity. And your environment, the people around you, your community and society, and their thoughts on things are going to affect your thoughts. We said, "Hey Elon, what were the 3 decisions you made that shaped your life the most?" I wonder what he thinks of that. And maybe it's more of the result of 1,000 little decisions, maybe. But it'd be interesting to hear what he thought really got him down the road he's on, and what decisions, if they weren't made, might have taken him down a different path. Next page, it says, "It is amazing how many people use freedom to imprison themselves." Whoa, that sounds deep. It is amazing how many people use freedom to imprison themselves. You take that a lot of different ways. Then we have the LBM blurb from 2078, and it reads, "What is our infatuation with perfection? Natural, I suppose, to our evolution, yet we seem to disregard the imperfect. So much of our reality is imperfect. If perfection is my only friend, I am surely lonely. Perhaps it is not nature that worships perfection. Perhaps it is only society. What is perfection anyway? Surely we do not know." And in bold it reads, "Natural evolution worships perfection." And below that is another positive affirmation: love. Good reminder. Next page, it says, "We move towards pleasure and away from pain, the way a flower moves toward the warm sun and away from the cold darkness." Interesting metaphor. Is that a metaphor? I think so. Yeah. It says, "Hey Elon, which of your companies do you think will have the largest long-term impact on humanity? That is a good question that I would like to hear him answer. And it seems like a lot of his companies have a lot of companies within that company. He's in like Starlink, part of SpaceX, and like the Tesla bots are part of Tesla. Tesla is like that solar department as well. Yeah. And then below that it says, "Animals evolve by adapting to nature. People evolve by adapting to technologies they have created to manipulate nature." That's interesting. Animals evolve by adapting to nature. Yep. And then people, so they try to manipulate nature with technology, and then they adapt to those technologies. Next page, it says, "On Mars, students are taught to live the simplest existence, and then they are encouraged to build upon that existence as much as they desire." I like that. So what is the simplest existence? And then how do you teach that? How do you kind of perfect that? So you're starting with a strong foundation and then build upon that as much as you want, which will be different for everybody. Sounds like a rational philosophy. And below that we have the Albion blurb from 2052 that reads, "The young children were so different. More differences than similarities. Different animals molded to fit a certain shape. How unfortunate. Children with limitless talent and potential. Stars shining so brightly. Children just trying to keep up. More problems than solutions. Children with their entire lives planned out, every single step. Children unaware of their present situation, unwilling to be molded. Children built on solid foundations, given every opportunity to succeed. Children who had to be their own foundation, opportunity nowhere. Children that had all they dreamed of, pleasures instantly gratified. Children that had nothing but dreams, nothing but their thoughts." And in bold it says, "Children with their entire lives planned out, every single step built on nothing but dreams." That sounds like another experience blurb. Almost like if he's visiting a school or something like that. Then we have an Elon Musk quote that says, "We have a strict no assholes policy at SpaceX." In parentheses, it says page 43 of the employee handbook. Okay. Cool. Well, we will stop there for this episode. Join us for the next episode. And until then, have a great day.